Welcome to the Transom Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transom.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello and welcome to podcast number 39 for February 2018. Okay, I hope you're well, and I hope you're well enough for the puzzle of the month, which this month comes from the Penguin Book of Puzzles. Yes, it was a Christmas present, and you've probably seen it in many of the bookshops. It's a really great collection, head and shoulders above other puzzle books, with a really good variety of different types of puzzles and different variations of them. So, this is the puzzle that I've picked out. Divide 45 in 4 parts, so that the first part with 2 added, the second with 2 subtracted, the third divided by 2, the fourth multiplied by 2 shall all be equal to each other. Bit of a different type of puzzle, that is. If you're like me, you'd dive in and you'd say, let x be the... and then you start to... Anyway, I'll leave that with you. The answer will be at the end of this podcast. I hope you enjoy thinking about that. Right, so the 3 most noteworthy new learning objects added to the Transom website this last month are as follows. First of all, frequency trees. So being able to construct and read these diagrams is a new topic, if you can call it that, which appears on both the higher and the foundation new GCSE specifications. So this interactive exercise requires pupils to fill in partially completed frequency trees, then try some of the exam-style questions that introduce calculating probability from the numbers in the trees. So that's a nice, easy one for you as the teacher to allow your pupils to have access to. It's self-marking and hopefully will create a little bit of discussion as the problems get a little trickier as you go further down the page. Okay, the second one is number grids. Now, number grids are as old as the hills, I'm sure you know, sort of the 10 by 10, the 100 square, where pupils can colour in multiples of different numbers or other number patterns and gain some sort of insight from the way those multiples are constructed. And I've started collecting a variety of activities suitable for older children, really, I suppose, more, beyond the obvious. Now, as a Transom subscriber, when you go to the number grids page, you have access to buttons that will allow you to quickly colour in, automatically, I suppose, different number patterns, and you can produce combinations of these that the pupils then have to try and recognise and unpick. That's sort of one of the activities, but there are others. And if you have any ideas, please let me know. So that's number grids. Now, the links to these activities and all the others that I mention in this podcast can be found in the newsletter, which is transom.org/newsletter. Okay, the third new activity is called Old Equations. I happened to be looking through a really old book from 1857 and saw some of the exercises in that book and noted how they were, as they say, intelligently varied. So I thought, wow, they shouldn't sort of be consigned to the rubbish bin. Let's dust them off and present them in a sort of an interactive way. So Old Equations are some great linear equations from a book called A Graduated Series of Exercises in Elementary Algebra by Reverend George Farncombe Wright, published in 1857. So when you've done the standard equations, linear equations on the Transom website, go into these old, more complex equations for your pupils to really hone their skills. Now, the book I'm reading at the moment is called What Does This Look Like in the Classroom? Bridging the Gap Between Research and Practice by Carl Hendrick and Robin McPherson. It's a very readable book in which the educational experts of our time answer commonly asked questions about learning. And their answers are sort of backed by the latest research. And you can dip in and out of the book, focusing on the chapters that interest you. The chapter headings, just to give you a flavour of the content of the book, the chapter headings are assessment, marking and feedback, behaviour, reading and literacy, special educational needs, motivation, memory and recall, classroom talk and questioning, learning myths, that's a good one, technology, and independent learning. And in fact, the thought buzzing around my head at the moment about independent learning is, and I'm quoting now, I think the paradox is that the things that make you a good independent learner don't necessarily look like independent learning. Or in other words, as one of the other experts put it, independent learning might be a desired outcome, but paradoxically, it may not be the best way to achieve that outcome. I suppose that's stating the obvious, but in a very concise way and making it very clear and giving a little bit of a food for thought there about classroom activities. So I recommend that you get a copy of the book and read about this. The link to it is in transom.org/newsletter. Enjoy.
You are listening to the Transom podcast. You can find Transom Mathematics at www.transom.org.
Over the last couple of weeks, I have been posting hidden gems on the Transom website on Twitter. The idea is to make teachers aware of some of the Transom pages I think are really useful, but you wouldn't necessarily think about searching for them. And they're also like needles in haystack because there are over 4,000 pages now indexed by Google on the Transom website, so stumbling across them might be a rare event. So I've put links in the newsletter to the tweets, and just to run through the list very quickly, there are 19 up there at the time of recording this podcast, and the titles are Triangle Solver, Mix and Math, Mind Reader, Refreshing Revision, Pong How, Old Equations, Graph Patterns, Box Plots, Venn Paint, Heptophobia, Great Expectation, Number Grids, Transformations, Sheep Herding, Systematic Listing, Areas Investigation, Number Line, Exam-style questions, and area wall puzzles. So I'm up to number 19, and more will be posted on Twitter. So follow me at Transom if you want to get those appearing in your feed ever so often. Okay, the answer to the puzzle of the month, and if anybody would like to write to me with a really clever way of solving this, I'd be grateful. I'll put it in the next newsletter. But the answer is, the 4 parts are 8, 12, 20 and 5. That's all for this month. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transom podcast. You can find the website at www.transom.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transom subscriber.